of the day. The deadline for presidential candidates to choose their running mates has, generated heated discourse in the polity. Wading into the debate, Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State says that the choice of who they will run with should rest with the flag bearers of the political party. Our reporter Kende Amodu put this story together. Take a look.
Presidential candidate of the APC is probably faced with the toughest decision among all the candidates that have emerged. Being a Muslim, his clinching the party ticket has thrown up speculations of whether he will choose a Muslim running mate. Observers have pointed out that to capture what they describe as the northern vote, he must choose a northern Muslim. For some, that idea is completely unacceptable. But Governor Uzodinma holds a contrary view.
There is nowhere in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria where religion is a factor or a characteristic as to who becomes the president or who becomes the running mate. But we are looking for a united Nigeria where governance will be the issue, where a president will be judged by his capacity to deliver.
And contrary to some speculations, he is quick to clarify that the people of the Southeast are looking beyond the disappointment of not producing the presidential candidate in the two biggest political parties. Rather, he says they are looking to get the buy-in of other regions to their cause, as no geopolitical zone can produce a president without the participation of other political zones.
We expected that now the power came back to the South, it will go to the Southeast. But you see, it's not a decision that the geopolitical zone alone will do. No geopolitical zone can become a president without the participation of other geopolitical zones. So when you don't get the cooperation, you begin to find out why, and you work towards getting the cooperation next time.
The governor also outlines the factors that should be taken into consideration while choosing a running mate.
In that ballot paper, there is no room for delegates to vote for who will be a running mate. So that explains why it is not a decision for the public, for the people. It is a decision for the candidate. So the decision of who becomes your running mate, if I were the candidate, what will inform it is what will I do as an action that will enable me to get the kind of votes I'm looking for. Because the ultimate goal is to win the election.
With a deadline for the submission of names of presidential candidates and their running mates some days away, the main political parties are already in some last-minute consultations over the choice of their vice presidential candidates. Those names must be submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission by Friday. From State House, Abuja, Kende Amodu, Trust TV News.
All right, now to get perspectives on this, we have a political analyst and a columnist, Majid Ahiru, who is now joining us to give perspectives to this, ongoing conversation. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. Well, let's get your own take on, this conversation about, running mates is the major issue right now. And for the APC, it's coming like a tough decision, having to, decide who gets to run with the flag bearer of the party. What's your take?
I do not think it's so much a tough decision for the APC as it is for the PDP. I followed the conversations and there's this focus on the prospect of a Muslim ticket on the APC platform. But somehow we overlook the problem that the PDP is also faced with. Because going to the South, the PDP's strongest support base appears to be the Southeast. And that base has been overrun by the candidates of the Labour Party. So that is what has actually thrown the PDP into like a quagmire.
But if you look at that,
yes,
the APC is also facing the same with the Kwankwaso movement in Kano,
exactly,
where the NNPP.
Yes, and that is why the APC is more decisive in what it wants. Look, I'll give a background to this. Yes, there is a bright prospect that the APC might run a Muslim ticket. But for anybody who has a problem with this, it's important to interrogate what may have led the APC into considering this option. And it is important to point out the fact that the PDP drew the first blood in this instance.
How so?
There was a clamor for power shift to the South by 2023. And the PDP, whose support base has been in the South since it actually fell into the opposition, since 2015, was expected to have been the most eager to reward that Southern base with the ticket of the presidency. But when the PDP, citing winnability over the morality of inclusion, of equity, of fairness, threw up a northern Muslim Hausa Fulani speaking candidate, it left the APC no option but to re-strategize. So this was where the first offense was committed. The PDP's reneging on the zoning arrangement within its own party on the altar of winnability.
Okay, so what's the zoning arrangement in the PDP?
It is North and South. In 2019, the entire southern half of the party resolved not to go into the contest for the ticket with their northern counterparts. And you saw their southern friends and associates mobilizing behind each of their preferred northern candidates. And let me tell you this, Atiku Abubakar emerged as the candidate of the PDP because of one major factor. His pledge to run for one time only if he's elected as president. I was part of the entire process. And I'll tell you something. When he made that pledge, and when he appeared to be the most nationalistic amongst all the contenders, the southern leadership, the southern political establishment, narrowed down on Atiku. To say, okay, he appears to be an alternative to President Muhammadu Buhari in terms of his ability to carry the entire country along, where the president was accused of being a sectional leader. And secondly, he's going to run for one term, meaning that by today, Atiku and President Muhammadu Buhari would have been finishing, or Muhammadu Buhari would have been finishing their tenure. And in preparation for a southern presidency, if Atiku had won, he would not renew his term. And so the power will now shift to the south. That was the agreement. That was the arrangement.
Is that why?
That was there?
Yes.
In 2019?
2019.
Is that why you see someone like Peter Obi leave the PDP?
Peter Obi saw that the system was skewed, and according to Hajjudin Mohammed, it was obscenely monetized. And so if you know you don't want to play that kind of politics, the best option is to leave and build your own party, which he's trying to do now. So the PDP committed the first offense by refusing to zone appropriately to the south.
But these are two political parties, isn't it? And
we're talking about the president.
I mean, everyone can take its own decision.
No. I have no quarrel with that. So if the PDP can zone to the north and present Nigerians with the prospect of having a 16-year run of northern presidency, then the APC has a right to also do that is needed for them to win, even if it means a Muslim candidacy. So you cannot blame the APC without reflecting on how the APC got to this point. Let me tell you something. I've said it several in all of my write-ups and public intervention, that the APC has resolved to zone power to the south.
But you know, the thing is that if you look at the flag bearer of the APC,
yes,
he's a southwestern Muslim. So
he's a
isn't that
southerner.
enough?
No, he's a southerner.
But a Muslim as well.
I mean, going by the path of religion.
Zoning of the presidency is north and south.
But you know, the issue at this point
if you allow me to land on this point.
No, the conversation at this point is not about the south and the north.
It's about
any
what?
Longer.
It's
about the Muslim taking.
And I'm told that the PDP created a situation for this prospect to take place. And I'll tell you how. With the northern...
So PDP should be blamed for that?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
If you allow me to explain, I'll tell you.
How should PDP be blamed for the
because I have been warning.
Party?
I've been warning for the past 2 years that the PDP should not renege on zoning. They should not. If you do that, you expect this as consequence. With the northern Muslim Hausa Fulani candidate coming from the largest voting bloc in Nigeria, which is what you call the Muslim North, the Hausa-speaking Muslim North. The only way to check that candidate and deliver a southern presidency is to present someone from within that same demography in order to sway voters towards the southern candidate. If the PDP had not zoned their presidency to the north, the question of Muslim candidate will not be on the table because there's no threat from the opposition party.
What you're trying to say is that
yes.
when the PDP zoned their candidates
yes.
into the north,
yes.
then the APC should have done the same. They could have done that as well.
No. You see, that's why I'm saying I need to commend, and all of us need to commend the APC, especially the northern governors of the APC and other leaders of the APC, for being men of honor and integrity, for showing fidelity and commitment to the unity of this country. When they decided to zone the president of the South, they didn't narrow down particularly on any religion or even geopolitical zone. They said Southern Nigeria. They presented the president with 5 names initially, which included aspirants across religious lines and across the three geopolitical zones in the South. But when it seemed that the president was not willing to impose his choice on the electorates within his party, and so the man who had a more, political influence. I mean, the man who was like the biggest masquerade within the APC ranks emerged as a candidate, expectedly. Everybody knew that if you had done primary elections in the APC without interference from any quarter, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu was going to win the primary. It was supposed to be taken for granted for anybody who understands the politics of Nigeria and his impact in the politics of the APC.
So why is that same goodwill of the northern governors not translating?
No, they need to deliver. They need to deliver that southern candidate. I'm saying the PDP pushed the APC into a corner that it must extricate itself from.
No,
it's not enough.
You are talking about northern.
You're not allowing me to make my point.
Sorry,
I think maybe you have an opinion already that you want to force on me.
You are referring to the northern governors.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
As being magnanimous.
Yes. In shooting out to the south.
Interested in the unity of the country.
Yes. In going to the south.
And going to the
yes.
south. And now that the discussion about Muslim ticket is on the table.
Yes.
Others are saying,
and I'm saying
also
you cannot.
That why are the northern governors also not looking towards
it is practically impossible at this time.
Christian?
It is practically impossible.
Why is that?
Blame this on the PDP. I keep saying it. You seem to be comfortable with the fact that the PDP jettisoned zoning. At the time, you shouldn't have done so. Look, those in the PDP who's coming for power against their southern counterparts are the people you should blame for this situation, not the APC. The APC has an election to win. They've shown good faith enough. Let me tell you this. When the APC decided to zone out to the south, they showed good faith enough.
What I do not understand.
Yes.
Why should PDP be taking a blame for the decisions of an
Because
APC?
they are the main challenger to the APC.
These are two different political parties. Everyone should be responsible for his own decision.
No. They are going to election together. No. The APC has done its best.
We are talking as though these are the only two political parties.
They are the two main political parties until we have a disruption. Well. And that is why Nigerians should vote for another party that they desire if they do not like the Muslim ticket. You have options. You can vote for the PDP. You can vote for the Labour Party. You can vote for Showore.
There are other parties,
exactly.
Actually.
So, but if we think that the Muslim ticket is an issue, it is because this party is a dominant party. And it's going to be challenged by the main opposition party, which is the PDP. And both parties have strategies that are interwoven. You must understand that the PDP, as I said earlier, drew the first blood on this matter. The PDP dishonored its own agreement within its own party when it cited winnability. I followed this conversation closely. I warned, as a Nigeria that is concerned, as much as you are, about inclusivity, I warned the PDP leaders, do not present a northern candidate. If you do, one, you're going to lose in the north and lose in the south. Because if the APC decides to present another candidate as well, you can't defeat the APC in its own stronghold. But you would have lost your southern support base who are now feeling betrayed. Already, with Peter B out of the PDP, he's taking most of the southern base of the PDP as we speak. Now, but you have a northern Muslim, Hausa-speaking Fulani man as the candidate of the PDP. And Nigeria is steeped in identity politics of ethnicity and religion. You can't rule that out. People tend to vote for people of similar or shared ethnicity and religion. To counter this is the reason why the APC is now considering bringing somebody from that dominant demography in that region in order to support their southern candidate. I cannot blame them for this. I do not like it. If you know my antecedents, I'm sure people who know me will be surprised at this position I'm taking. But I'm being realistic. Except somebody's having something personally against the APC as a party and is ready to condone the violation of zoning that has happened in the PDP, then we must have a frank and sincere conversation. I have been on this on the PDP that do not zone to the north. Do not pick another candidate. Because if you do, we are going to plunge this country into some form of crisis.
Okay.
That's what we are saying today. So I cannot fault the APC. Okay. If I give them credit first for even going to the south at all, for risking it by going to the south, the least we can allow them to do is to present any running mate that will support the emergence of a southern candidate.
Okay.
That is to me the real issues of inclusivity and national unity.
If I may, the last I checked during the primaries of the PDP, I didn't remember any zoning arrangement.
There is a zoning arrangement.
I didn't remember. There was, at least to the best of what we know.
Okay.
The elections went on without any vote, without any zoning arrangement.
There is a zoning arrangement.
The party decided that they were going to leave it open for everyone to
That was where the dishonorable attitude of the PDP came to play. In 2019, it wasn't left open. The Peremadu committee on the reform of the PDP came up with a report that, look, PDP lost the election in 2015 because they violated zoning. As a consequence of that, people revolted against the party. And to correct that is to go back to the north to pacify a zone that the PDP cheated out of their own tenure in 2011 and attempted to do same in 2015. That was why all Southerners, no Southerner bought a form to contest 2019 election with any Northerner. It was agreed. You know? And I told you that the reason why Tambuwal and others didn't emerge was because if Tambuwal had emerged, for example, he didn't commit to one term. And so if he wins that election, he will be running for a second term by now. And so the leaders of the party felt, and Atiku, who had pledged, go and check the reports, it was in these newspapers. Atiku pledged one-term candidacy. That was the selling point within the party. Major selling point.
What I hear.
And he was given the candidacy because of that one term, because there's an understanding by about 2023, power will be shifted to the south. That is the real equity. The PDP violated that fundamentally and left the APC no choice but to do whatever it can to show up its southern candidacy to win the election.
Mr. Majid, what I hear in what you're saying is that because Mr. A has done something wrong, yes, it's okay if Mr. B goes ahead and does the same thing.
I'm saying
that's what I hear.
I am saying again, their rivals, it leaves them no choice. I'm not saying what they're doing is right.
When the governors spoke, the governors said, the northern governors, they said the reason they wanted to zone it to the south was for equity and fairness.
Yes.
So what we're asking now, and what a lot of Nigerians are asking, is that why is that equity and fairness not being translated into the choice of a running mate? Because when they said they were doing it for equity and fairness, they were not looking at the PDP or whoever the PDP had taken. So a lot of Nigerians are wondering why they are not following through with that.
No. I'm saying between them and the PDP, they have even tried. Look, the most fundamental thing that the APC has done for Nigeria and Nigerians is agreeing to zone power to the south. Even when they had the yam and the knife. You know what that means? A northerner is president, sitting president. The north has the largest voting demography in Nigeria. So that is the yam and the knife, meaning they can decide to retain power at the infinitum in the north. But they said, let it go to the south. It was bidded for, it was there was a tough competition among the southern candidates. And somebody emerged who had more clout.
I really doubt that because, the APC we saw in 2015 and 2019, I doubt if the same APC is the same APC going into that election in 2023. Because
in what way? I'm talking about northern vote. I'm not talking about the party.
Yes, I'm talking about the north as well.
Okay.
Because we cannot look away from the influence of the Kwankwasia movement in Kano and the implication it's going to have in the northwest.
That is the more reason why the APC is going to bring up a vice president from the Muslim north to check the Kwankwasia movement and Atiku candidacy. That is the more reason. If these two parties are zoned to the south, nobody would have contemplated the Muslim ticket. Nobody. Because there's no immediate threat in that zone. They don't have one of their own on the ticket that can help sway votes to the other side and truncate zoning to the south.
So what you're saying at this point is that it doesn't matter what happens.
I didn't say
it's just about winning the election.
We're having a political conversation.
Yes. What you're saying is that the two parties, it doesn't matter what happens. Let's just win the election.
I didn't say so. Maybe you're not getting my point. And it's important for us to listen to each other and have a conversation.
Okay.
I said, Majid Dahiru, for the past 2 years, when I noticed that he moves in the PDP, I started cautioning them against zoning the presidency to the north, no matter what it takes. I called on the northern wing of the PDP to say, look, allow zoning to happen. Your support base is in the south. Atiku had 11 million votes in 2019 elections. Overwhelming majority of those votes came from the southern base of the party. And southerners are resident in the north. It's a fact. And I said, these people are clamoring, as a clamor for power shift to the south ahead of 2023 elections. Southern governors met in Asaba and made a declaration that, look, it's our turn. You've seen the social groups in the south saying, it's our turn. PDP, please respect zoning. Bring out the best among you from the south. and support him with your structure in the north to see if you can win the elections. The PDP reneged. The PDP displayed the highest level of dishonor when it said it was picking the candidate.
You seem to be so stuck on PDP's decision.
It's my opinion. And maybe if you allow me land, the viewers will understand what I'm saying. The PDP said winnability was their focus, not the morality of doing the right thing. Most people didn't understand the implication of this. They stood by and allowed the PDP to have a free way. Now you have a Muslim candidate for the PDP with the prophet of a Christian Southerner as running mate. But the APC said, no, we will not do this. We are not PDP. Power should go to the south. Tinubu is a Southerner. Whether he's a Muslim, whether he's a Hindu, whether he's a defiant worshipper, he's a Southerner. And there was an open contest without interference. And he won. Northern governors rallied against Ahmed Lawan, one of their own, to make sure that the Southerner emerges.
Is that so?
Yes, they did.
So why zone to the south? The northern governors zoned to the south.
I said they rallied against one of their own, Ahmed Lawan. In their own party, said, no, you can't have it. We're going to the south. And a Southerner came first, a Southerner came second, a Southerner came third. It tells you the seriousness of the northern establishment to shift power. But to deliver that southern candidate now, the PDP mistake now becomes a quagmire for the APC. That is, you have a northern Muslim running on the platform of a major party like the PDP to make sure that nothing distorts zoning to the south. They needed to do, in fact, in any case, we've not even concluded on the fact that they're going to bring a Muslim. I'm even saying, if they indeed decide to go that route, you cannot blame the APC without first looking at how the PDP created the situation. So and let me tell you the implication of not allowing power to shift to the south in 2023. And a Southerner who is 10 years old today will have been 18 in the next 8 years of a northern presidency. So the Southerner would have grown into a country where there's a concrete ceiling on your aspiration as a Nigerian beyond the level of vice presidency. Because by that time, nobody will have the energy to fight for north and south presidency anymore. So I'm saying the APC proposition, if indeed they're going to run with the northern vice president and the southern, the northern Muslim pairing with the southern Muslim, still comes closest to fairness and equity than the prospect of having a northerner rule Nigeria 8 years back to back, as being proposed by the PDP.
Okay, do you think that that is the only way upon which the APC can give PDP a run for the money?
Yes, realistically speaking, that's the only way. Again, if the PDP did not feed another candidate, nobody talk about it. The prophet of a Muslim candidate from the Muslim North. Nobody talk about it. It's not an issue because there's no threat. When you have a northerner in the mode of Atiku Abubakar standing after they've touted winnability, you also have concussion there. If you're taking the presidency from a region, and you don't want them to vote for their kids and kin in these two parties, the best thing you can do is to say, okay, you're going to have number 2 to at least protect your interests within the new.
But don't you
so
think
that is the only way it can sway people.
Don't you think that APC, with all its machineries and everything, even if they pick a Christian or even an Ifa worshipper and they rally around the person and campaign very well, vigorously across all parts of Nigeria, they could win the election?
It's not realistic enough. It's not. You see.
So at the end of the day, it's not about the morality of this. It's about winning the election, whichever way.
You see, morality is subjective. I've given you a background to this. The APC didn't just get up to pick a Muslim ticket. I've given you a background. And maybe if we are fixated on a particular narrative, we may not make sense of each other's conversation.
The thing is that while we are
they are going to a contest to win. And I've told you that the PDP drew the first blood when they made the statement, we are going to pick another candidate for winnability, meaning they want to target that same demography. That is Nigeria's largest voting bloc.
Well, I mean, that's a major consideration for any political.
That is what the APC is doing. That's why do you blame the APC? If you condone it for the PDP, don't blame the APC.
All right, so now,
I'm doing this today because...
Well, the conversation was not about condoning a particular party.
That's what my gentleman here is trying to do.
It was about looking
You've not admitted.
No.
Throughout this conversation... Excuse me, madam. Throughout this conversation, he has not agreed.
No, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. No,
violated zoning.
I'm coming.
You told me in this show that PDP did not agree to zoning.
Hello, Mr. Majid. Please,
so that is the issue.
Let's understand each other here.
Yes.
I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with whatever you are saying.
Yes.
My point, you are making a point that the PDP has jettisoned its zoning arrangement. That's fine. That's what you are saying.
Yes,
right?
on the prospect of winnability.
What you are saying.
But the APC is saying we will still go south.
The point,
but do all it can to deliver that other candidates.
The point that you are insisting that the PDP should be blamed for the position that
it's
the
my
APC
opinion.
is taking. I'm not
in the law court. That's my opinion. So you allow the public to judge.
All right, now
you are not the judge. You're not the jury.
I'm not judge.
You're only interviewing me.
All right, now.
So, but because you've taken a stand already on the fact that the APC is guilty as charged, without considering circumstances that has led to this.
Okay, Mr. Majid.
Yes.
I'm sure you've been following the conversations in the country.
I'm part of the conversations.
Since this issue of running mate came on board.
Of course.
If you've been to social media, you are definitely aware of what the narrative, the direction of what the conversation is like. So my job here is to present to you the conversation as it is.
And I'm saying, I am saying
whether I'm agreeing or
these
disagreeing with
conversations should have been intensified when the PDP decided.
But that's for the public. That's not for me. It's not me.
When you talk about the conversation on social media, that's for the public. And I'm saying those people may not have been informed of the dynamics that had led to this.
Now,
when the PDP jettisoned zoning, they should have joined people like us to call them out and say, what you are doing is dangerous. I wrote several articles. I went to several platforms to talk about this same issue. In fact, let me tell you this. I met with the PDP and WC members and told them, if you do this, the APC will bring up a strategy which includes going to the north to pick a special candidate outrightly. They will defeat you in the north and they will defeat you in the south.
Okay.
That what you are doing is dishonorable, that will bear you no profit as a party. And you're going to put the unity of this country in jeopardy. Because you won't blame the APC if they decide to do something like we are talking about now. So if you want to know why the APC may likely, I don't know whether they're going to pick a Muslim ticket, I do not know. But the prospect at all of a Muslim ticket should be blamed on the PDP's refusal and opportunistic strategy of picking a candidate from the Muslim North for winnability purposes. So you can't blame the APC for something up a winnability strategy.
All right,
so
now,
all the parties are concerned about is winnability. It doesn't matter who is aggrieved. It doesn't matter.
And I am saying for the APC, they have even done better in terms of inclusivity by first agreeing to push the candidate to the south. Let me add this.
All right, now, Mr. Bajit, please, before you say this, because of our time, we cannot, we have to just get as much as we can get. Now, talking about this same Muslim ticket, right? The APC is the one that, you know, is proposing this.
Yes.
It's the one, we've heard that, we've not heard that from the quarters of the PDP.
Exactly.
So, which is why a lot of people are reacting to it. There's a lot of reactions, right? And we are saying that given the, you know, polarization of the country right now. I want to get your own position on this. Let's leave PDP aside. But given the issue about, you know, fairness, inclusivity in the country and all of that, should we be going that route? I'm
going to vote, personally, Bajib Dahir, I'm going to vote a southern candidate who is Christian, that is going to pair with a Muslim northerner. That is my opinion. Anybody who is dissatisfied with what APC is doing, you have an option. You can actually vote for a Muslim and the Christian ticket. It's open. You can vote for the one I'm going to vote for. I'm going to vote for a southern, because I believe I should shift to the south. And I believe in balanced tickets. I am not an APC member. I'm not an APC sympathizer. Anybody who knows me will be surprised that I'm even giving a benefit of doubt to the APC. But I'm a realist. And I do my analysis with objectivity, even if it's against my own individual interests. What I'm saying is, there's an unfair criticism of the APC when we stood by and allowed their major challenger, whom they are competing with for the general votes of Nigerians, to do what was worse than what APC is about to do. It's unfair. The conversation should have started when the PDP jettisoned zoning.
So what you're saying is that anybody that is not happy, there are other parties.
There are options. There are options. At this point, we cannot force the APC to do what is against its electoral interest after taking the first leap of faith by zoning to the south in the first place. That is fair enough. Compared to the APC, to the PDP, the APC has done better in terms of fairness and inclusivity than the PDP.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Majid Ahiru, political analyst and also a columnist. Unfortunately, because of time, we have to
Thank you very much.
end the discussion here. Thank you so much for coming on Daybreak and sharing your